Right. Good morning. Good morning. How is everyone on this? I would say rainy morning, but I guess you guys are coming from everywhere, so it may not be raining where you are. But here on the East Coast, it is definitely raining. But the good thing is it's a 41, 43 degree, something like that rain, not a 23 or 30, 33 rain. So it's nothing big. It is what it is. It's just an inconvenience. That's all. But again, not bad. Again, rain in January tends to be better than snow. Anyway, so far this morning, a little bit of movement, right? Aussie dollar, we talked about last night how that could be a big one. We are looking for this one to turn and roll back down again, and you did. You can see it. Minus 135, biggest on the board. We talked about the unemployment rate last night being really kind of a great trading opportunity. And you can see, right? Minus 14 down, 3.5 unemployment ticking back up again. And again, just boom, right? Boom. 130 to the downside, as well as adjustments to the prior as well. So, none of that considered great for the currency. And again, that's why you got to love those nighttime releases. Um, Going into this morning, we have this WEF, right? We'll probably get some out of it, some headlines, but I don't know if it's going to be anything that's going to be, overwhelming or kind of taking over the market as far as what we're looking for. Our Philly Fed came in negative, but not as bad. So again, unlike the Empire that just completely blew it out of the water, Philly Fed did fine and unemployment came in lower than expected. Did get some comments from Jamie Dimon this morning, just a little while ago, talking about rates will still rise above 5%, right? There's still a lot of underlying inflation. And again, we've seen it in the core. I mean, it's nice to say that it's all taken back again, but we have seen it, right? It's there. I can tell you again, a couple days ago, my gas was 311. It's 322 this morning. So we are starting to see it tick back up again. Other big kind of highlights in there, SMB, right? Some tightening is probably on the cards. What was the response? Not much. Not much. It's just the dollar reinflating from yesterday. And again, you're seeing euro dollar down, pound dollar down, dollar yen up, up, up. Again, up pretty nice here. Obviously, this one's down, but dollar strength, again, more or less flat, right? It's a green number, but it's kind of retracing back again. And then again, that pound yen down at minus 57. So nothing, nothing crazy, right? Nothing nuts. Now, we do have a bunch of releases today that we don't normally see on a Thursday. Just so you guys are aware of it. This is one thing I wanted to do as well. Building permits. Building permits were lower than expected. And again, it's not considered a major release, but remember, homes, building, anything like that, kind of as a more forward looking than anything else. So we got some, just could be what's coming in the future. Oh, Bubbuds, what is that? Bubbuds, what are you doing? Oh, there we go. I got it. Got it, Bubbuds. But we do have natural gas storage today, expected to be a big down draw compared to what we had last time. And crude oil. Last time we had a monster supply of 19. Again, it was expected to be what? It was -2 last time, too, right? Yeah. -2 came in at 19, a huge, huge miss. And this time, no, we meant 2 this week, right? So we'll see how we'll see how that one comes in. And again, this one's at 11 o'clock, so it is later than normally expected. And that's because of the holiday this week. Besides that, I don't know, Japan National Core CPI, ticking up. Japan doesn't do too much with it, but you never know if we get something out of that one. That's expected to come in at 6:30 p.m. So this may dictate what happens in the European session later today. But again, not considered a major release, primarily because, again, it's at 6:30 p.m. It's after U.S. trading hours, so a lot of the volume has been sucked out. But it absolutely can lead the Asian session to some new moves. And then Williams is speaking, but I'm assuming Williams. But I'm assuming that Williams will have kind of the same tone that we've heard. Yeah, we're still going to continue to raise it. We still got some room to go. Inflation is still high, so they're all using the same script writer at this point. Now going into tomorrow. So tomorrow there's some decent. We still have the WF meetings, and again it's day 5. We got retail sales on a monthly basis. Again, I'm kind of wondering if we get disappointing retail sales numbers here. They're expected to grow. They were negative last time. If they are not as good or negative at all, that should be a big crusher for the pound. We should see the euro pound jump a bit. We should see the pound dollar continue to drop, particularly the pound yen as well. Particularly because if we have Bubba, it's what? You've been quiet and now I'm talking. You're wanting to go crazy. With the yen talking about their inflation rising, but all of a sudden the pound retail sales are negative. That could be a positive and a negative factor in the same pair. So, could be, could give us something there to kind of play around with. Um, Other things, again, obviously retail sales in Canada is big. They're all expected to be negative. Again, if they come in better than expected, it could help the dollar CAD, do a little bit of a drop. Because again, there's not too much dollar wise. I mean, again, existing home sales expected to go lower. And again, a lot of this is interest rate based. Nope, buddy, we're not playing with that. No, nope, nope. And then Waller is speaking, right? Now, Waller speaking at a council on foreign relations, not necessarily, um, you know, is that going to be a U.S. kind of centered mover? Not really. It shouldn't be. But again, it is at 1 p.m. on a Friday, so there will be some lower volume there. But the reality is, how many people are already going to be gone? Nope, we're not going to hit that. No, 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 no. Here, play this. All right, we'll get done then. You're going to throw stuff here. Go ahead. Play with the empty trash can. Here. Shouldn't be necessarily the biggest mover out there. So nothing that I'm super worried about to end out the week. All right. All right. So with that, let's start over here. We're going to start with the VIX. Now the VIX is up big, right? Yesterday continued to rise, right? Today in the overnight, definitely went up much, much higher. In all honesty, I don't know what's driving it. Now you are seeing all the indices in the red currently to start off the day. But if you think about really what was the catalyst for this one, it could be the same kind of language, the same kind of tone that we've been hearing, right? They're going to raise interest rates. That's bad, right? I guess there was, I don't know. I mean, bank earnings were not great, but at the same time, again, banks you got to kind of be careful when you look at banks as the end all be all as far as earnings, right? Because banks do things a little bit different, right? I guess, I don't know, they were talking this morning on CNBC, I guess Party City was claiming bankruptcy or something like that, and then I guess Bed Bath & Beyond, they were also, I guess they were already in a bankruptcy kind of filing, but they weren't able to meet their guidelines or something like that. I didn't listen to the whole thing. But just talking about how, traffic is down, and again, not surprising, we saw it in retail sales. So, it's interesting that we keep hearing about the Fed saying, yep, soft landing, soft landing, soft landing, soft landing, soft landing. Yeah. We could avoid a recession. Yeah, sure. Yep, good. But remember, these are also the same people that were talking about transitory inflation. So I don't know if we can fully believe that. The same reason why that they couldn't believe that the consumer in the United States was, keeping us afloat, right? The consumers, they keep spending, right? You keep saying that they're not, but they keep spending, right? It's good. We're going to avoid it all. We're starting to see the consumer not spend. And is the consumer going to be the big shocker and really send us into a recession, right? Like I said, interest rates are high. They are going higher. We know that, at least over to 5. And the question is, how do we handle 5 compared to what we've been used to forever at this point, right? All right, dollar. Now, we've had a little bit of dollar. You look at this like, oh, the dollar's down again. But is it really? Not really. I mean, here's what we have with the dollar index. So yesterday, super early morning, right? 12:30 a.m. We saw this major shift on the dollar down. It was kind of like, man, did they know what the news was? Really? At 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, we had a little bit of a pullback. And then at 7:30 before news, we had this big crash down on the dollar. So everybody's like, oh my God, the dollar's getting smoked. All that data was horrible, right? And then since that time, once the U.S. market opened at 9:30, we saw nothing but dollar strength roll back into the market, okay? So yes, we are down a little bit, but are we at the lows? No. We're not at the 101.50s down here. We're not at the top either. In fact, if you kind of pull, a set of fibs on this one, we're kind of sitting right at the 50% mark. So, in reality, if you look at where this thing has been channeling, and again, this is a good box, right? We were up here, and then we dropped down again, and we were kind of low, kind of came back up again. The median of this is more or less, let's see, let me make this really big in a box just so it's easy to see. There we go. You can see the median of this, if I bisect everything, it's pretty much sitting right around this area, right? Maybe a little up, a little bit down in that area, but we're pretty close to what I would consider neutral right now. So we are in an area, right? We did have this nice strong push, one little base, and then boom, a pop off of it again. And you can see we've had some problems with that. And traditionally, what we see is in the U.S. session, dollar strength to roll back into the market. So we got buyers, we got some proof that they're buyers there, and we're kind of hitting it right now, rolling into that 9:30 window. Tends to be where we see a little bit of dollar strength come back in. So, it's down a little bit, but we're kind of in the middle of the range between our two zones. Okay. Now we could mark these off. And again, we're not trading the Dixie by itself, but we could take this and say, okay, here and here, these are two extremes. And this is not even the best of bottoms. Those are kind of our extremes. We're sitting in no man's land. We're in an area of buyers. We've had some support already this morning, and the U.S. session is rolling. Just thinking about that when we're talking about what's going to happen next. All right. Now, all indices are in the red. And again, I think at this point, as much as the market wants to go up, I think people are starting to get worried, just a little bit. I mean, confidence has been good, but I still feel like people are starting to get a little bit worried. That may be why we're seeing all the red here, or this is just preparing for what we're going to see later today, which is a rally. Now, tech is doing well. It was very interesting. They were talking this morning, mentioning how much everybody is up, in tech in particular versus like the S&P. And they were seeing even Tesla, as bad as Tesla is, right? Everybody's like, oh, Tesla's a dog. It's horrible, right? That I guess it is still up over the S&P for the year or something like that. Is what they were saying, right? It's outperforming the S&P. I don't know how, because it's definitely gotten beat up, but, it is what it is. But tech is kind of unusually high for no real apparent reason, right? I mean, there's nothing going on great in tech. Microsoft said yesterday they're going to lay off 10,000 people. We know some of the other big kind of, not big, but like smaller tech companies like Thinkific laid off 20% of their staff again. They just did it last year. They just did it again. So, I mean, tech is kind of a weird place, but yet we're seeing tech go up, right? And again, with retail sales getting really, really iffy, that tends to be where if you look at tech, it's like, hey, listen, I got a phone, but do I need a new phone? I'm kind of concerned about my job. Do I really need a new phone? I just got one last year, right? People tend to kind of cut back on tech purchases, right? When you have something that, still works and you're kind of concerned about what's going to happen next. So we're seeing it there. Now, oil, it is in the green, but it is lower than what it was yesterday, right? But we are still holding above that $80 mark. And again, not necessarily surprised. Natural gas totally flat today, right? We're at 0.00 right now. So, is that, am I concerned about that one right now? I feel like no, right? Like it's not super concerning right now where natural gas is, right? The thing with natural gas is it's kind of, I don't know how we say this in the correct way here. It's kind of a geopolitical thing. It's kind of not a geopolitical thing. Right now with the warm that we have outside, all of the fundamentals of it are not looking good for natural gas. But again, it's up one day 9 and it's down 9 in one day. So yeah, it's one of those things that the volatility on it's all over the place. All right. So not going to do much. Now, gold and silver, they're up a little bit right now. And I would say that part of this is I still feel like, I think the thing with natural gas, or I'm sorry, with gold and silver, Melissa sent me a message and I was like, no, can't do it right now. The thing with gold and silver, we know we're going to raise. The question is, how much more can we potentially raise, and what is the effect that it's going to have on the overall economy? So they're both, I would say, more or less flat, even though both are just up slightly. Typically, we use the gauge of this one is, what is silver doing in relation to gold? Because it should be twice, right? That's how we determine whether it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Gold is up 0.65. Silver's up 0.1, right? 0.2, right? Technically, right now, it's not. It's where they're signaling a shift right now that both of these will go down. And again, where the dollar is, if the dollar raises, then yes, it should go right back to the downside. So we may be in kind of a turning point for gold and silver, which again wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. Okay, going across to the Aussie dollar. Now, Aussie dollar, we knew we had some drama coming in here last night, and again, it was a great little pullback. We knew we had this level here. Once it turned, it was like, yep. And then again, here's where the news came in. Right, very simple. And again, we drew something like this the other day. We expected a break here. We got it. There was never a pullback to it, so we can delete that one from yesterday. This little break right here, it's like, man, can we get a pullback? 4 o'clock up into that 7 o'clock time frame. This up right here says, oh, we're looking for a zone to go short. And that's exactly what happened. There was your short. There was your news. There was your end result. And what did it do? It came down here and bounced off the other end. Now, it did have a little bit of a hiccup right here, but once we saw this kind of pullback, you knew that it was looking for more orders. So it wasn't necessarily as big of a thing that we're, much lower probability that it was going to hold. There was your news release. And again, pretty decent move off of it. To the other end, you're looking at what, 75 pips, right? 75 is not necessarily a bad move for this one in the overnight, right? Considering it's not a, not a US based trading session, right? So not bad, right? But again, it's over. Not much we can do with it. We did take a bounce. Right now, I would say be cautious with this one as well. We are obviously pulling back, right, to a level. There are sellers here. Okay. We saw from 8 o'clock till now, we saw basically the dollar kind of weaken a little bit. We saw it in the Dixie as well. With it pulling up, it looks very similar to what this pullback looks like. There are sellers here. It kind of has been there before, but that's where we're standing at the start of the US session. We tend to see dollar strength come in. That dollar strength should drive us right back to the downside. It is about a 37 pip move. I don't know. I don't think we can get a full Harry Potter in here. Not Harry Potter. Just a 3-to-1. It's close. Yeah, it could go. The one thing that and I'm going to say this right now, this is kind of like the euro position that we saw yesterday. The one thing I don't like about this right now is the fact that we did have a touch right here. We had a confirmation touch, but instead of being a confirmation touch here, the confirmation touch was up here. It was like all the way up here, right? So it was kind of an extreme level. Definitely not as clean. What are you doing? It's close. I'm kind of torn on this one. I don't like that it went all the way up. Oh, we do have it though. Well, we do, but there's this. That's the ideal red, green, red, right? Red, green, not as high, red close, and then you get short here on the exit. I mean, that's what we're looking at right now. How about this? It's like, no, I want it this way, right? It's not horrible. There are worse things out there. But this is my one concern. Everything else, I'm good with it. I like where it turned. Like that it came up. Love that it did it before the U.S. session. Love what we're seeing in Dixie. All those things are great. I just don't love the fact that it went super high. And again, we were waiting for a confirmation on that because it's been hit before. So again, you're technically in. You could, that could be one you're short at right now. Aussie, yeah, did the same thing. So you can see late last night, we were talking about getting down here. Actually, this is where the news came in last night. It was literally stuck at a basing. We were waiting for more of a grind over. It did. It held right there. It dropped. We're looking for 88. We're hoping to get to 88 before news. Unfortunately, news is what drove it down, kind of this 88 mark. So we based there, came back up again. I'm still looking for the weakness in the for this one. I would say I would still expect this to go lower. So we can remove it now. It's a broken zone. You can see. I love the fact that we have this. What do you got in your mouth? Are you curious? Okay, you can eat Cheerios. I love the fact that we have lower, 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 lower in an old zone that we're looking at. I like that one. So for me, this one also looks like it is a short. Like it in the Aussie dollar a little bit more than in the Aussie yen, but they're both in a similar position, right? 23 is not there. It's not going to help us yet. Just keep it clean. I don't need that one anymore. Yeah, I like this one to come back lower. But I like of the two, I like the trade in the Aussie dollar better. Yeah, we almost got a confirmation off that one. Okay. Euro, dollar. So, yesterday we talked about this coming back down to 107.75. You can see we kind of at 12 o'clock, we just ran out of steam. We made it down to 107.86. We needed, 11 more pips, right, to get down to the target that we had talked about. It ran into the sellers here, right, and just died. Nothing. 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 European session open. Nice little pop up. 5:30 reversal. Right back down into kind of the doldrums right here. So overall, I'd say, is there a trade in the euro dollar? Not really. I mean, we're flighting, as you can see, look, we're literally at 108.00. So we do have the psychological level of the double zeros on that one. Yeah, I would say, again, the dollar strength is looking like it's still good for this one. Is there a setup here? Not a great one because we still have to deal with these guys right below. So it's not, we just don't have a ton of room that we can move. I think it chops through, but this is only 11 pips away. So is it a great opportunity? No, not really, right? Not enough movement in this one. This one kind of is trying to figure out what the heck's going on with everything. So unfortunately, not much play in that one. Euro pound. Now Euro pound tried to push back up again to where we were yesterday. It was unable to do it. 530 again. 530. We reversed. We came back down. We're still kind of in the same area. And again, this was a bottom and then became a top. You can see that it also had the same result over here. But we know we got a lot of buyers sitting down here because they have fought and fought and fought here, 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 and here. Most likely it's going to break. I think at this point we're waiting for this 86, but we really need for this to continue on its trend. That 86, just for you guys to know, is a Harry Potter down here. Now, I would expect that we do get a little bit of a hiccup right here. I'll draw this back out. We're sitting up here. The 50, right? The 50% retracement, right? From the most recent low to high. 50% retracement. If you look at where it is. You know what? Let me make this a little easier for you guys. Or not. That was weird. Lots of lag. We're going to go here. Just to make it, just so I could extend it across. You can see that the 50% retracement level is dealing with this right here. Okay. So there is a little bit of a hiccup there. And you may say, well, why wouldn't you take a long off of that one? Primarily because, again, it has hit, right? It did base in there. It's done it in the past. It sliced through it here, it tapped it here, it tapped it here, spent a bunch of time here, tapped it here, tapped it here. It's hit it a bunch of times. So while it could be a potential reversal area, with all the hits here and the time that it spent there, it is a low probability reversal. Now, again, being the 50 is great. It wasn't the 50 when it built this. It is the 50 now, but I'm just looking for something a little bit stronger. It's the same reason why if it does go below this 86. So, select the date in the future. Here we go. The fact that it keeps driving in here, goes deeper, 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 and there's a big candle behind it, still looking for a short trade here. So we may, the scenario is it may come down where price is right now. Again, it's punched through, so it's definitely trying to form, levels here. It could punch down and bounce off this 50. The question is, what type of sellers are we going to put in up top? Right now, we got two little small areas, probably forming another one right now. If we come in here and base, if it hits, it's got to go up and deal with that same base again. So I'm more looking for it to crash through when it finally clears down here. And again, that's why we have this alert set down here at 86.88. All right. And again, a lot of this is going to depend on pound, right? Tomorrow morning, pound data, retail sales, that number comes in at 0.5. They're going to like that. They're going to say that that's going to be great, right? Wait, what? I just saw this. It's like, what? Nice. I'm missing $12.7 million. Whoops. Just, wow. It once had 12.8 million, but now reflects a balance of only $12,000. Whoops. Yeah, remember when you remember you answered that call and gave that guy your login information to check fraud on your account? Yeah. We're sorry, Mr. Bolt. Yeah, that's a big one. Whoops. Obviously not a US market thing, but yeah. So anyway, look for this to continue. I would like to see this continue to go down. I think tomorrow's pound news will give us the opportunity for that. And again, the forecast is that it's going to be good. Like I said, if it comes in negative, that one could get tanked really, really quick. But as of right now, again, if it comes in maybe even higher than expected, that could be some strong pound movement. And I think that would give that a nice euro pound trade for tomorrow morning. Okay. Euro yen. So we mentioned it. We'd been down here. We tapped a few times. You can see we based there early morning today. Europeans stepped in here, drove it up right back into a small level. And again, it's kind of the 23.6. It'd been there before. There were sellers. And now we're kind of pulling back again. I would expect this to do the same thing. We're seeing European weakness for the most part across the board. Really, when yen's in the second pair, we saw it with the Aussie yen as well. As that kind of continues to tear down again, I'd expect this to roll back down, and I'm not going to be surprised if we're looking down here. So 138.05 is kind of where the target is. I guess on a smaller time frame. Let's see, how much room is that? It's 60. I mean, I guess if you're really looking for something, there could be a case made for this level right here. It's okay. Right? It's all right. I mean, it's It's technically a Harry Potter. Let's see, how much is there? It's 14. It's not the worst. Let me see if it's. Let me see how it looks. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Whoops. Yeah, short. 1 to 3 right there. So you may say, well, what about that one do I like? Um, I like the zone, right? Get that right on 1 to 3. I like the fact that we had basing. I like that we had a little bit of a base on a touch and a big push out. I like that because of whatever, news, whatever it was. We came down, slammed into it. It went up and found more buyers. So it's a very close proximity selling zone. And then we hit it again and we're driving lower, right? It's only 13 pips risk. So it's not a monstrous trade. It's got 38 on the other side to grab on it. And we know that, again, I'm on a 15. I can bring it to a 30. It's fine. This is more or less a racetrack straight up. There's a little bit of a hiccup here, but ideally we want to make sure that we get our profit before here. So that gives us plenty of room to find that opposing zone. So, yeah, not a horrible trade, right? Not too bad at all. And that coincides with what we're seeing inside of the euro pound as well as the euro dollar, right? Is that euro weakness. All right. Pound dollar. Snooze fest. Snooze fest. What is the difference? It says 47, but that's because we were sitting here, right? We were sitting here. That's why it's down 47. In 1 hour, actually an hour and a half, this one's going to shrink to, if it doesn't move at all, we're going to shrink to 10 pips. So unless we get a major catalyst, which we know news-wise, we don't have any major catalyst coming in the next, 30 minutes, unless we get a headline that's an unexpected headline, this one doesn't really have, much chance to show us that it's going to move. So, again, sleeper, no movement. We're not necessarily interested in taking positions in things that aren't trending. We're looking for some movement in the market. Okay, so not much we can do here. Overall, again, we know we got buyers down here. Again, the basing and the pop off 122.83. We know we got sellers up here at 141. We're going right down. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised. Is it right in the middle? Yeah, we're sitting right in the middle, right? So we really need to start kind of getting it up there. And it's funny, look, as this is going up, it's actually starting to come back down into zero movement for the last 24 hours. All right. Pound yen, also not a lot. We had that little Harry Potter trade yesterday that came in. We can see we kind of flatlined as of 9 o'clock yesterday, just based, right? Late last night, we dropped down. We found the sellers, completed the full parabolic retracement move. The same buyers that launched it here were also found here. So as of right now, again, we could suck this down and say, all right, well, we're kind of hovering around the 23.6 right now. What is this looking like? Unfortunately, in the last 2 hours, 3 hours, we really don't have much movement. I think this one could be a pretty decent one to trade tomorrow. Tomorrow, primarily for the pound data, right? The pound, is it retail sales or GDP? Retail sales, right? With no movement today, we should see kind of how it is adjusting, right? I actually don't know if it can climb above 159. Yeah, I'm looking at this level right here, this level of basing, and I'm like, is this going to have the ability to move that much? I feel like the answer to that one is no. Yeah, that's a pretty decent level. Looking at this, a little bit of a test, right? And what I'm looking for that is right there, right? Our retail sales expected to be great, right? It's going to be awesome. We're blowing it out of the water. Well, we've seen everybody else not blow it out of the water. So if we can hover in this distance and end up here, that could be a decent little trade. Because again, they're expecting good. So if they get good, that was already factored into the markets because that's what the markets anticipated. Again, if they were a little bit overzealous and it comes in as a 0.2, it's still considered good, but the market's like, whoops, we over exaggerated on that one. That's pound weakness. that sends us straight to the downside. So this is kind of set up in the right spot. This is probably a watch for tomorrow type thing there. Yeah, it's a decent one. God, it's so early though. How much risk is that? 25. Again, if you're liking news trades, there's a news trade for you. Right? I feel like that's gonna have to be a maybe the last thing I do before I go to bed. Maybe to look to see where this one is at. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm about to put that on the watch list. Watch that one again. I love the fact that it's right on one. We're no 159. We're literally flirting with that 159. We've been there before. We're getting front run right now. If we get back up there again, if they're over positive, that's a great little short for tomorrow morning. Dollar CAD. All right, so dollar CAD. We did get some basic up top. So we knew, we had something in here. We're waiting for a break, and unfortunately never gave us a pullback. It sucks. We were waiting for it forever. It was an alert. The alert blew yesterday, right? We can continue this there. You can see it went well past. That alert got triggered right here, right? At noon, right? Right there is where the alert came out of. But we were waiting for just a little pullback. It didn't give it to us. So it did go up. It did get to the 50. Everything kind of worked out, minus giving us a pullback. We just came back down to it now. You could consider this a parabolic move. I'd like to see dollar strength roll back in, but if this starts to collapse down again, there's not a whole lot stopping in here, and we're probably looking at coming back into this level. We do have CAD data tomorrow, so there is probably a play in this one. Right now, CAD's getting a little bit of help from oil being up 0.66. It's not major, but we do have tomorrow this core retail sales numbers, and they're all expected to be like really crappy, right? Why that matters is if we can hold firm up here and the data comes in better than expected, that'll be strong CAD. We should see this kind of roll back down again. I don't know how far we can get and what influence we're going to have on it today. Let me see, what are we doing? It's still chopping back and forth. What you doing, buds? This is not enough of a base in that zone to be able to take it, right? It's basically, there's the trade. And it did the right thing, too. That was a decent... it did peek out of the top a little bit. $100 pips. It's got a 109 ATR. This one does not have... Technically speaking, this one does not have a setup, right? I do like this one. Looking at this, I do like this one short. But at the same time, there's just not a good entry for it. There's not enough zone. There's not enough basing, right? To give us a good kind of established level to kind of get something off of. I do like it to the downside. I'm not, I can't candy coat that one. I do like this one bearish. I do like the CAD strength rolling back in. I really like the CAD strength coming in before what the news is predicted for tomorrow. I think the market's trying to prepare for what that news release actually is. Can we go down, prepare, and then be ready for a short tomorrow? I don't know. It's a little bit far. I mean, again, at 109 daily ATR, that's what it should do. That's a lot to pre-adjust for a trade for. Again, it's getting some CAD help. It's getting some dollar help. I wish there was a level that we could get into this one short, but I just don't have one. You could already be short. If you're already short, I think you're in a great position. I think that's a great trade setup. I think you're going to get to continue pressure to the downside with it, based off of just what we're seeing here. But um, hmm, yeah, I just don't have an entry. I wish we could get an entry to the downside on this one. But I do like this one coming back in here and maybe down to the 134 today. About another 70 pip drop to the downside is what I'm looking at. Just my feeling on it. But unfortunately, I can't give you a rule set that's going to be like, yep, here, besides what I'm seeing in the chart. So, just take that with a word of caution. This is not enough of a zone and not enough of a base in there for me to look at that and be like, yep, that's good. But we're going to do it from there, right? Yeah, just not going to work for me. Dollar Swiss. So, Dollar Swiss, we talked yesterday about getting a somewhat of a pullback, and we did. At 9 o'clock, we saw it. You can see once it started the base right here in this kind of front run level, you're like, yeah, it's going to have a hard time. And it did. It went up, and we're in the exact same spot. So, not surprised. On this one as well, the way I'm looking at this one, to me, this one also looks like dollar weakness, right? We kind of put this level here first and said, hey, listen, if you want to be really aggressive, this is where it is. Once it started basing in here, you're like, it's forming. It's forming buyers. And it did. It poked through and then flatlined. By 12 o'clock, it was stuck. Nothing. Europeans took it up a little bit. U.S. session brought it back down again, and we're in the same exact spot. I would say right now, this is down. Again, this is not enough of a hiccup for me. I'm looking at this one short as well. I think if I'd like to see a confirmation entry on it. I'd like to see it kind of come down first, right? I'd like to see it. I want to see where it's going to bounce, just in here or just through. I'd like to get a little bit of space. I'd like to get a little pullback, and I'd like for that one to continue. It's only 11 pips risk, so we're not talking about anything, humongous, right? But I like this one short. I like the fact that we got messages from the Swiss earlier today, that they basically said, yeah, that some racing could be in order, right? They're starting to get kind of bullish in their stance. I like that. I think that's good. I like this one on the downside. Dollar yen. So here's where we were dollar yen yesterday at 8. You can see it drove all the way down. We missed it by a little bit. All it did was pull back, and I don't even think, was it a 23? I think it went higher than that, right? Yeah, it went higher. We're floating around the same level. You can see here's when the news came in today, and there's not too much of a result. It's kind of flatlined. Take the news off on this one. I would say right now the next big key on this one is going to be this year-over-year inflation rate. We know it's supposed to go up, right? It's forecasted. They don't have it on this one, but it's forecasted to be at 4.0. Again, higher than kind of what the mandate is, but the yen is always kind of screwy when it comes to what their interest rates are, their inflation rate is. And again, I don't think they're going to raise interest rates too much. So, my opinion on this one is we are seeing kind of pivots here lower and then here lower, and then it tested. It didn't go as high again. It's kind of basing right now, but it doesn't have a lot of stamina either way. We got an area of buyers above and below. So kind of rocking a hard place. I would say that, what are we at? 16 pips in 24 hours. Not really a major mover right now. And all it's doing is really just kind of playing ping pong between these two levels. So not much. I'd like to see that get out a little bit more. So looking at crude oil. So crude starting to pop up again. Now, again, we know we have at 11 o'clock today, we know we have the inventory report. Last week's was monstrous. Not going to be surprised if there's somewhat of an adjustment on this one, just because it was so off last week. But going right back to that -2, I don't know if that -2 really necessarily matters too much. It is an 11 o'clock release, so people aren't looking at it as much. Not like it's normal day. Let me see. What was the API report? Inventory report. Wow. They're kind of calling for a good day again. They're calling for another big increase in supply. Another big miss. It's not a 19, but it's still pretty big. Their forecast was a down draw of 1.7 versus 2.0 is what the overall consensus is, saying it comes in at 7.6. So again, this is not the greatest for oil. Seeing it rise up in the European session could be set as well. Again, yesterday we had that 10:30 turn. 10:30 was literally the peak of this one. Made it to 1 to 175 and then turned off. So pull that one off. Probably got stopped out of break even on that oil trade. Let's pull this back up. We're going to delete that now. This level base through. Honestly, we have the red, we have the green. If we get it closed below, the candle just flipped. This could be your oil trade for the day, right? That could be your oil trade for the day. Again, nice little pullback zone. Was that a 50? It was a 50. That's what you doing. Man, I wish oil was at 10:30. This would be great. but no, we got a little bit of time. We got 45 minutes still. Just looking at this, I mean, you're starting to see it really form a top in here. Now it is going a little bit higher, but man, it's right there. It's right there. Not a bad one. Like I said, a little bit of a risk. But with it driving up like this, knowing that the expectation is that it's going to be a bad number today, um, which would, again, obviously push it back to the downside. This is not a bad one. This is not horrible. So, yeah, if you're looking for oil trade, there you go. Natural gas. Not bad. Not bad, right? Right? So, again, we drew it. I said the bottom was going to be here, right? I missed it by just a little tiny bit, right? I missed it by 1, 2, 3. I missed it by 4 hours, right? Now, we are basing sideways right now, but absolutely this could be the popper. But we talked about kind of that measured move, right? At, 85%. We copied it down, and there you go, right? That was your, if you didn't watch yesterday, it was this move, right? We had 2 fulls and then an 85%, and then we copied the 85% and put the 85% here, and there's your 85% move. Now, it is basing sideways. We'll see. Again, with news, could it pop up? It could make it there. But again, you can see we're just kind of continuing to track down on this one. So, yeah, not too bad. But again, we got down to that 326. So, I like the 326. Still wanted to break 3. I think we can with the weather the way that it is. You know, global warming, y'all. Global warming, right? We don't need that natural gas, right? It's how we're saving the environment. We're just not using our heaters. So, yeah. Again, this one is a little bit different. I tend not to use the news-based strategy. You can. I don't like it as much. I don't feel that it's as predictable with natural gas. So again, a little bit more risky if you're going to trade it on that one. But the way that it's setting up right now, it looks like it's due for some type of a pop. And again, it's really adjusted itself in the last little bit. Gold rallying higher. And we talked yesterday about getting down to 1900 as being where kind of we were looking for. And you can see it touched at what? 1972, right? And then this one came down to 1899.91. So yeah, we talked about being the target for yesterday. It did. It worked. It came down. We're rallying back up again. To me, gold looks like it's getting back up to an area where, hey, listen, we get up in that 119, 125 range. We are back into a sell zone. Yeah, I like that sell zone. I'm good with that sell zone. So yeah, let it continue to rally. Bring it up there and then see if we can get the reversal coming around that 10:30, 11 o'clock time frame today. I think that would be fine. And we're probably due for some headlines anyway. So yeah. Yeah, that's fine. I like that one. Silver. Now, gold and silver. Typically, silver should be doing twice what gold is. Gold's up 0.86. Silver increasing a little bit, right? But it's about even right now. Now, it did have more of a move down. We didn't quite get to 23. We were kind of hoping to get all the way down there at 23. Made it down to 23.14. So, not quite as far as we were, hoping for. It is rallying back up again, but let's see if there's going to be some technical sellers coming in. Yeah, they're getting pretty close. Looks like 23.75 is going to be an area where, you're going to have some artificial sellers get in. There is no supply zone there. So ideally that is not as clean of an area that we would like. But as of right now, yeah, expect them to come in. If they're able to burst through, obviously 24 is going to be another sell level. We'll see. I don't think that this is going to, for some reason, I don't feel that, it's really had to fight back and it's not doing as well as what gold is. I don't think it's going to have the ability to go double today. That would bring it all the way back up to 24.10. I don't think 24.10 is an area where silver needs to be today. nor is there anything out there justifying it. Again, there's underlying inflation, sure, absolutely, but that's why we're going to raise interest rates. But we're not done yet. We're not going to go into an environment where healthy inflation is allowed to occur. Any increase in inflation right now is going to be considered bad and more justification for us to crush it. So not really an area where not an environment that we're looking to do much with it. So all right, so that is the commodities. TLT down today, but it's again, it's still up from where we started yesterday. So again, kind of makes sense with the dollar. Let's see what the VIX is crawling back. Yeah, the VIX is starting to kind of pull back a little bit. Again, doing what we would expect it to do. Yeah, I would expect this to probably tick back a little bit more. Let's say the dollar's doing. Yeah, dollar's doing nothing. It's having a hard time. Again, it's bouncing off those buyers and sellers, and again, it's fighting both directions. So I wouldn't say that right now the dollar is necessarily giving us any direction of where the markets are going to go. It is a neutral party right now, unfortunately, so not much to do with it. ES, yeah, look at the chop back and forth. So let's drop this to a 15, see if there's any opening abilities today. Come here, Bubba. What are you doing? What? Come here. What you doing? Yeah, you want to say hi to everybody? You say hi? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm feeling. So looking at the 15-minute, yeah, hard part about this one is, look, there's a zone. It's not a tested zone. So you can say that, listen, there's a zone right below. Yeah. Is there a zone above? It's here, right? Here's the confirmation that we had. There's the zone. There's the confirmation. So there's where the zone was. 915 is green, so we're looking for a short. I don't think there's enough room. Maybe it'll be really, really close. I'm trying to draw this. Bud buds. I can't. It's hard to be precise, bud buds. 1 to 3 is right there. Yeah, so kind of sketchy, right? You were looking for a short, but unfortunately, where the bottom was put in, really wasn't far enough away. You guys can see it there. It's kind of going back into, you got to kind of go deep into the zone. So, if you were short from that opening trade, yeah, you're still, you're in profit. You're about 2/3 of the way through. It looks like it's trying to fight and go a little bit higher. Would you have taken this one opening print? It doesn't really meet the rules. So, you were looking for the short, you got the short, but again, it was a risky short. So again, I'm not here to give you guys, risky scenarios. So, ideally, I have to say that no, the answer is you would not have taken this one. Even though if you did, you'd still be profitable. I'm not gonna, nobody can code it. You'd be successful right now with it. NQ. Yeah, NQ, a similar setup. NQ doesn't really have any confirmations until really up here is where the confirmations are come in. You can see we missed that. The 915 candle was green, so we were looking for some shorts. And again, I like the fact that it rolled back at 830, but kind of the same thinking. You don't really have, there's a turn down here. It didn't hit anything. You may say, well, there's one right there. Yeah, but it wasn't confirmed. There's no kind of touch back to it. That comes here as a level of basing. So no, nothing in NQ either. Got here. Same thing, right? Decent candle here. That was at 830. The 915 candle was green. We were looking for a short. Come on, Kip, stop. I guess there could be a case made that Kip, stop. Stop. You're gonna go in the other room. You're being a bad boy. Right? That's where it would be. But is that a confirmation off the level? Not really. It's kind of where the level is. I guess you could say that there's one there, maybe, but that's pretty stretching it. For me, there's not really a confirmation up until here. Really, this level right there would be your confirmation, right? Too far. And if you look at it, is it really sure what's going on? Not really, right? There's your 915, there's your 930, up and down. No body at all on the 945, the 10 o'clock, no body at all. It's just all wick. So not strong one way or the other. So again, yeah, nothing. Yeah, could we be blank? Maybe. Fortunately, it's like how do you draw a zone off that? you don't. You're like, yeah, there's the pull down. There's the zone. No. Yeah, 915. It's looking. You do have a confirmation there, but you kind of miss. I guess you could say actually if you use this candle here, there's your confirmation. So yeah, there could have been a case made on this one. But what do you do with this? Like I love, I love being transparent like this. It's nice. I could say, hey, listen, guys, absolutely, look at that trade. We nailed it. Oh, Kip, stop. Here, get down. Get down. Come on, get down. Here, you can have my phone. Here. You can't keep kicking the keyboard. We could cherry pick this one, guys, and I could play like, look at, we nailed it right to the T. We grabbed the top of it, right? There's your basing. No. Look at this zone right here, right? I mean, come on. It is what it is, right? You could say, look, there's my trade. There's my 1 to 3. We've crushed it. Yeah. No. What is this zone? This zone is 3 times the size of the risk on the top side. So, yeah, it worked. If you guys grabbed that one, good for you. But you got to look at a zone like this and be like, where do you draw that one? Is there enough room, a 1 to 3, for us to reach it there? Not really. It is what it is. So, yes, it did go south. If you're short this one, good for you. I think you're okay. It's putting in these new lows. And again, the negativity is just in the market. I think it will continue to go farther down. But, I, I would say if you were short this one is better lucky than good, is what it is. It's not a great technical setup. And, it is what it is, guys. If you got it, grats. But we're going to say that this was absolutely no entry. So, even though it went to the full profit target. But that's, again, some days we have all 4 of the triggers. Some days we have none. Today is one of those ones that really, really this is about the only one that has any confirmation in there. It's about 2/3 of the way through, but it didn't really have, your 1 to 3 was really cutting off. So, wah, wah, wah. And now look, we got Apple and Tesla are both getting smoked now, right? They're reversing back pretty quick, which is going to accelerate, particularly the NQ. So, and again, just chop, 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 chop. It's trying, man. Look at this. It's looking for those sellers, right? It's really looking for those sellers. We talked about a couple different trades today and a couple small setups. I want to see how far this one can go. I actually, looking at that number for oil, the fact that this is just rallying the way that it is, I really like this. Yeah, that's a YouTube trade. Good point, Ernest. Yeah, not even luck. That's a YouTube trade. Yeah. So, no entry on 4, but yeah. Anyway, I'm liking a short in oil after news today. I love the fact how much it's rallying beforehand. I feel like the news is just getting out. I'm I feel like it's going to be not as big as what they think. I don't know. The way that this is moving right now, again, to the top side, I feel like we could definitely have an oil short. And again, if the API number was right, coming in at 7 again, that should be a fundamental, reason why this should drop with it rallying like this, making it more expensive. I mean, this is looking like a decent short today. So, I mean, everything's kind of lining up. We'll see if it can actually make it through these sellers right here in the next 30 minutes. But if we get to go up, using 35 and 1 and we hold here, I think oil could be a decent short out of that news today. It's just a lot of movement in the overnight. And again, everybody knows what the API is, but there's a lot of movement still with that one. So, yeah, that's what I'd say. I like oil right now. It's one of the best ones. Everything else is going to be kind of choppy, right? Chop, chop, chop. That's good. I like it. Good. I love it. I'm good with this one. I like it. I went deeper in and pulled back again. If it hits the sellers right here, this may be a number 1 entry. You may even want to pull the trigger on this one when it comes through 138.76 or 67. Right? Love the fact that it's pulling back a little bit from that level, and now it's finding and running into these sellers. So if we can get a turn here, like that one. So, all right, let's get into the drawing. All right, we got 8 in. We got Mr. Ty in today. We got Angie, Neuro. We got everybody in today. No Sean. Upstate New York thing. Or upstate New York. He'll kill me, right? Upstate Michigan. Sorry. My bad. All right, let's close it down. Winner of today's drawing is Neuro. Neuro, how many did you have? You only had 2. Hey, tweaked it a little bit. You had a 20% chance of winning. Ernest was right there with you. He was like, yeah, right there. So, it is what it is. Let's go ahead and give Neuro his, let's go leaderboard, give Neuro his 25. Man, we've had a different person win every day this week. Whoops, not 254. God, could you imagine if I did that? Woo, I never hear the end of it. Every day, actually the last 5 days, we've had a different person every day. Since Neuro's clean sweep last week, which again, Neuro, you ran out of time this week. You needed to put the hacks in yesterday, not today, right? The hacks needed to go in yesterday. Uh-oh. Here we go. Begin using extraordinary debt limit measures on Thursday. Will begin and last through January 5th. Huh. Draw to the debt limit. I know to the public. Here we go. Debt limit. It's so funny. The debt limit is just like sends a letter to Congress. Okay. Yeah. Statutory limit will be unable to fully invest in. So yeah. I love the debt ceiling and the debt limit and stuff like that. You know, like when are they ever not going? Like, here's the thing. It's like, hey, we can't pay you guys anymore, right? Can't pay you guys anymore. We've hit the debt limit, right? We're going to shut the government down. You're not going to get your paychecks. Okay, well, let's vote on the rules. Let's extend the debt limit so we can get our paychecks, guys. Right? That's kind of what we're dealing with. So I love when they talk about where like the debt limit, debt ceiling, right? You know, it's like these are the things that movies are made of. You know, let's send $150 billion overseas, right? Overseas, right? But hey, we're at a debt limit. We can't spend any more, right? It's like, oh my God. The priorities, right? The priorities. So anyway, with that said, I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Again, I think this is the pound one, the retail sales number for the pound would be great. If you guys are up, again, this is one of those trade setups that is kind of like, look at it before you go to bed. It is a big release. They're being extremely positive, saying that retail sales is going to be up 0.5%. Retail sales has been crappy across the board right now. If this continues to rise during the day, it could be the pre-market in the Asian session setting this thing up, particularly in the pound yen. Again, with the Japanese data tonight, this pound yen could be a decent short for tomorrow if this comes in crappy. And like I said, they're saying it's going to be good. If it comes in good, they already factored that in. That should already be in the market. But God forbid they miss. The market didn't prepare for that ahead of time. Associated with the interest rate or the inflation rate going up in Japan, could be a decent short. We could be seeing a big red pound yen tomorrow morning. So again, just keep that on your radar. Watch out for that one. With that said, I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. If you need me, shoot me a message on Discord. Thank you again for joining, and I'll see you then. Take care.